let's talk about Imaginate. And now that I know that that is a title because something your kid says, I need to know the story behind the title.
Sure. Again, like we're hanging out with my two oldest, who at the time were probably like 5 and 4 now. They're 7 and 6, and we're doing bedtime. And for the longest time, what they wanted was a story from your imagination. Mm-hmm. And it took them a while to get the word down, imagination. And this was during that period where they were still kind of like, you know what they're saying, but they're trying to get it down. And I was super tired, and I was like, oh man, let's just, I'll read you some stories, or like, can I just like tell you about my day? And my oldest was like, Dad, in order for you to tell us a story, we need you to imaginate. And it was like, again, it was like one of those like really innocent, like, and also like heartfelt moments. And I just like, pulled out my phone. I was like, I wrote that shit down. And I was like, all right, man, we're going to do a story. And it was like, cause like whenever they do this, like I just get like energized. And, cause you get it, right? Parent, constantly tired. And those moments happen and I'm like, this is fucking great.
This is why.
Yeah. So and I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I guess it was with the first song, right? So the first song I did under this name was Hot Copy. And I was in the process of writing it. My wife didn't know because it was an anniversary gift to her. Mm-hmm. And we're downstairs. The basement in our house is just a playroom. And in reality, every fucking room was a playroom.
Yeah.
But like that's what we call it, right? It's got the super duper bright rugs with stains from everything. And at the time we just had 2 kids. And my daughter was like just 3. Everything that we would drink was just like one finger. Because she wants to put one finger in the thing and then taste it. And so every morning, kind of have the same conversation, right? Because we're just like living off coffee. And I was like, no. It's like it's hot coffee. And she was like, hot copy. And one morning she said it again, and I'm like, just the music's in my head, and I'm like, I have no idea what to call this. And she said it, and I was just like, yep, that's the thing. And then from then on, I was like, oh. Let's just do this. I don't have to think about what the thing's going to be called. I'm just going to have my kids name it, whether they realize it or not. And maybe when they're older, they'll look at this and be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." That was my oldest. That was his word. Which I still use it. I tell people at work, they're like, "I don't know. I can't see it. I don't know how we're going to do that." I'm like, "You got to imaginate." And they're like, "Do you mean imagine?" I'm like, "No." And I don't give them any fucking context. It's like, this is just for me. This is just for me.
No. How did the song itself come together?
Most of my songs are like kind of sad or somber or like both. If you like really dive into the lyrics, so if you're having a bad day, like don't fucking do that. But this one was a bit more uplifting. And I again, it was a few years later, I wanted to write something for my wife. So the lyrical content is about her. And around the time I was like, I wanted to write something for her, I picked up my acoustic guitar, which I very rarely do these days, and it just kind of started to come out.
Together.
Yeah, had fun with that one. As I always do, there's actual like electric guitar in there, but I really tried to stay as close to a lighter, more acoustic driven format. Although there are some fun samples in there that I had fun playing around with. But yeah, sonically, I was really pleased with that one. It did like the worst.
It's pretty.
Out of all my songs in terms of like traction or plays. But after coming into Artemis's world, a lot of his people who are on his server were like, "Yo, what is this song? This is great." And I started to get like compliments flooding in. I'm like, okay, because like you put out whatever the thing is, whatever the project is. And it doesn't get received well, you just kind of write it off and don't come back to it. And that was part of the reason I ended up choosing this one today, because like his fan base, which has been like super kind to me, was like, "Oh, we love this song. Like this is like one of your best." I'm like, "Oh," it's like they talk about validation. But yeah.
Cover me in your warm night and push me to be so much more than I tried. It's not new, but it feels like every time when you touch me, I fly. It's the way you separate me from the things that complicate me. Oh, time. Meeting sooner or creating further hours in the day to entwine. I couldn't stop if I wanted. It's the way you separate me from the things that complicate me. Oh, it's the way you understand me, love, the way you understand me. Beautiful is your design.
Do your instrumental influences differ from your vocal influences? And if so, how?
I've never been asked that question, so I mean maybe. I don't know. I've never thought about that, which probably means it's a pretty badass question. When I think about influences, I guess I really think about the bands or like the groups or the artists that I listen to the most, you know, especially like during my formative years, and the ones that I'll go back to and listen now, and you know, there's some like bit of nostalgia in there. But I've never thought about it from just an instrumentation standpoint, because like guitar is my primary instrument, but at the same time, like I'm not like a lead guitarist. Mm-hmm. So every time I go to my guitar tech and he shreds, he's amazing. As one of the best technical players I've ever seen. You know, the conversation's always like, hey man, so like, you know, what kind of gauges and how far do you like it to be from the board, and like, you know, what kind of bends do you do? Like, and I'm like, I don't know anything you just said to me. Everything I do is super simple. It's all like I definitely like, I live in like that singer-songwriter realm, and I just whatever like pushed into like a lot of reverb and delay, and like some of my musician buddies are like, yeah, like that's what you use when you don't know how to play guitar. And I'm like, there's for me, there's definitely some merit to that, but I don't know. I just with this project especially, like I like the softer side of things. I like anything that when I can step away from and go, that's super pretty, I really like that, I'll listen to that guitar, you know, those guitar parts by themselves. That for me is like a winner. And then in the Wide Waters group that I'm in, we're essentially all just like producers and songwriters at heart. Sam is in that group as well, and he was like, yeah, I was trying to like figure out this one part that you had, and he's like, and he knows I'm not a technically proficient player. And he's like, I can't fucking play this. Like, how did you do this? And so like we open up the session, and he's like, oh, you're a piece of shit. It's three guitars at once. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way I could do that. But anyway, didn't really answer your question. I think
sure you did. It's fine.
All right,
well, do you want some help in answering it?
Sure.
Okay. You sing pop, R&B, soul. When you play, you do not play that in any of your songs. It's not that at all. It's more of it's almost like a Gin Blossoms kind of sound. Things like that. You add a lot more effects on it, but you're a picker more so than anything else. So who do you listen to that picks a lot?
I don't know. I mean, like I'm just thinking of artists I listen to that implement guitars, and some of it's like ones I've already said, right? So like there's Death Cab, there's Bryce,
for sure. Mm-hmm.
And there's Bon Iver. I don't know.
I can see the Death Cab.
Okay, so where can our listeners find you and your music?
I'm on all streaming platforms, so if you can, you know, I don't know if there's a visual representation of this, but like Brooks of York, everything is under that.
All one name. Okay.
It's all smushed together, Brooks of York. So if they can type that in, then they will find me. Instagram, TikTok, I'm there most days. There's a link tree on both. So if you ever can't find that, but you find me on social media, there's a link tree. Go there. I should probably get a .com at some point, but I don't know. Haven't done it yet. It's on the list.
We are gonna tell you thank you for being on the show real quick and then switch gears over to the Patreon content. If you're not a patron, please become a patron. I don't want to say we're begging, but we're begging a little bit. All right. Thank you so much for being on the show.
All right. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Hope you enjoyed listening to Mr. Brooks and getting to hear a little sample of his music. Should be dropping some singles very soon, so check him out, show him some love, and show us some love. And Ronell's going to tell you how you can show us some love.
You can become a patron. The Patreon link is below. You can buy some merch. I have compared it to other people's merch, and it is about the same, maybe even a little less depending on the things. And we have a new logo, and the merch looks beautiful. You're going to buy a shot glass anyway. You know, if you go to Spencer's and buy a shot glass, it's going to be the same, and it would really help us keep bringing you independent musicians without us having to burn the candle at both ends. Like, follow, subscribe, share, and download this episode of Sound Pollution Podcast. And last but not least, make sure that you click those links below to the artist that was on the show and show them some love, buy their music, and tell them that you heard of them through us. And I think that's about it. It's just two tired parents ready to fucking die. Tired for different reasons. So we need you to get out there and make some